allegiance, and please stay standing thereafter. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I recognize Councilmember Harder.
Thank you. Please remain standing. Tonight, the council is wearing blue ribbons for our police that have fallen and those that have been hurt in the last week. And if we could take a moment of silence for those that have lost their life. Thank you.
At this time, I'd also like to recognize Councilwoman Hazel Irby.
I think Mark covered it all. I wanted to say for everyone who's been hurt, the lives that have been lost over the past few weeks, and our country's been in turmoil, and our heart goes out to all of the people who have lost loved ones over the last couple of weeks. So
Thank
Mark
you.
covered it.
Thank you very much. Our prayers go out to everyone. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Irby? Here. Councilmember Page?
Here.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Here.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Here.
Councilmember Dolan?
Quiet, please.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Here.
Councilmember Harder?
Here.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Move approval of journal meeting of June 28, 2016.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Journal is approved. At this time, make a motion to suspend the rules in order for the presentation of a proclamation by County Executive Steve Stanger and also Councilwoman Colleen Wassinger to the representatives of the Park Board in honor of the 40th anniversary of Longmire Park. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. The rules are suspended. At this time, County Executive will make a presentation, and also Councilwoman Colleen Wassinger to the Park Board.
Sure, great. If I may first, I'd like to read the proclamation, and I won't read the entire proclamation, but I'll read the pertinent parts. Longmire Sculpture Park is one of St. Louis County's greatest treasures, a place of great beauty, internationally known, and of cultural significance of the highest order. And founded in 1976, Longmire Sculpture Park is one of the first and largest dedicated sculpture parks in the United States and serves as a living laboratory. And each year, hundreds of thousands of patrons visit Longmire Sculpture Park, with a great many traveling from far away to visit and enjoy the finest in contemporary art and partake of the festivals, educational classes, and events held at the park. And the people of St. Louis County are especially proud that such a remarkable gem exists within easy reach as part of the county park system to be shared with art lovers from around the world. Now, therefore, I, Stephen V. Stanger, St. Louis County Executive, on the occasion of the park's 40th anniversary celebration, congratulate all who have worked to make Longmire Sculpture Park the outstanding facility it is today, and to proclaim July 1st, 2016 as Longmire Sculpture Park Day.
And I'm very proud to be involved with Longmire Sculpture Park and to be able to serve such an amazing community. And I'm really grateful for everybody's support for 4 decades. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Here's to 4 more decades.
That's right. That's right.
How are you doing? I didn't see you back there.
Thank you. We have no bid openings. Move to communications.
Mr. Chair, there are no tax compromises, zoning matters, or road and bridge matters this evening, so we'll move to other communications. Under other communications, item number 1, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 2,
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. Same motion through item number 4, and that will be the order.
item number 5,
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 6, second district.
Please drop from the agenda.
So ordered.
Item number 7, second district.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 8, second district.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Same motion for 9, please.
So ordered.
Item number 10, fifth district.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 11, sixth district.
Receive, file, and the matter be held on the order of business.
So ordered.
Item number 12, sixth district.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Item number 13, seventh district.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Item number 14.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. Same motion through item number 17, and that will be the order.
Item number 18, first district.
Receive, file, and the county council will be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 19, sixth district.
Same motion.
So ordered.
Item number 20, first district.
Receive, file, and the county council will be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and a copy of this report be sent to the city of Wellston.
So ordered.
Item number 21, second district.
Receive and file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and a copy of this report be sent to the city of Creve Coeur.
So ordered.
Item number 22, seventh district.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 23, all districts.
Same motion, that will be the order.
Item number 24, seventh district.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to go back to item number 9 and ask for a change of order to be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. County Executive?
Nothing further to report this evening.
And we have no report of special committees. We'll move to public forum, and we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address. First speaker?
9 speakers this evening, Mr. Chair. First speaker is Lee Presser.
Stand here.
Yes, sir.
I feel like an adult. My name is Lee Presser. I live at 1140 Big Bend Station Drive in Manchester. Prior to Mr. Stanger's election as county executive, the county board elections determined that the middle point of St. Louis County's population is near the intersection of I-270 and Manchester Road. The middle point of population was determined in order to help relocate the election board headquarters where most people would find it convenient. In mid-June 2016, the Post-Dispatch announced that this body, the County Council, wanted to move the election board to a far northeast location, convenient to few but those living near Lambert Airport. Since the location of the Board of Elections building affects almost every adult in St. Louis County, I would have thought that there'd been a detailed discussion about relocation, information about standards to be used in determining the new location, and finally, public input into this critical decision. As an employee of the county, you can relocate, as the employer of the county, you can relocate its employees. But as a provider of vital services to citizens, the county must take into consideration the needs of all citizens when relocating those employees and those services. The election board office is a very special case. Every adult may, on occasion, have need to visit. Absentee balloting is one example. Most poll workers, the people we count on to run our elections, must come to the election board office for training 2 to 5 times a year. The Sun and Drive location is near the midline of the county. For most county citizens, the driving distance is about the same. If you put the election board office at Old Northwest Plaza, you've given an advantage to some at the expense of many others. The importance of the election board should be self-evident to every elected official. Making it convenient to the greatest number of voters should be your highest goal. But according to the Post-Dispatch online report, County Executive Stanger stated, the county would like to locate its resources and its people in communities where those resources and people are needed, and Northwest Plaza is a turnaround story, and we want to make an investment in that community. Well, to this reader, that sounds like a social experiment with a dash of preferential treatment for one part of the county over the rest. Let me put it this way. If Northwest Plaza is such a great location, why not move the county council meetings there and put the Board of Elections here in its place?
Thank you.
Do you need a copy of this?
Yep, sir. I want to address some of your concerns by saying
Sir,
that
sir,
Please
I
hand
can
it
take that for you.
Did-
there will be a smaller facility located very near the current facility in more of that central location that you're talking about for absentee balloting and other vital services.
Yes, sir.
So that will be there to respond to that concern that you have.
I've heard that said. I'm just wondering whether or not the smallest election, like the April elections, require 3,500 poll workers, all of which currently go to that location for training. This November, 5,500 poll workers will be needed, and they all have to go there. My wife and I are both supervisors. We would prefer not to drive all the way from way out in West County to Lambert or near Lambert. We prefer to stay at Sunnon or somewhere nearby, near the center line, which, as the board has determined, is somewhere near I-270 in Manchester.
Okay.
So I wish that you would take that into account when you're
Thank
making
you.
your decisions.
Will do.
I understand fully what you said, though.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for
Thank
your
you, Lee.
time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Jennifer Byrd.
My name is Jennifer Byrd. I'm at 9244 Laurel Hill Drive in Crestwood. Thank you for taking my comments. Thanks for having me back again 2 weeks later at the same time, which is inconvenient because dealing with family and dinner and so forth and getting here in time for 6 o'clock is very difficult. It was one of the things that I suggested when I was running for this seat on this council, and still is not the case. I mean, PTO meetings, city council meetings, 7:30 when people can come, but I know that you're not interested necessarily in hearing our comments. Okay, concerning the move of the Board of Election, Department of Human Services, et cetera, to the crossings owned by the Glarners, who gave $130,000 to Mr. Stenger and $5,000 to Mr. Page, several questions gnaw at me. So the Glarners are putting $10 million into a rehab for this building. I would like to see an itemized list of what specifically they're going to do that's going to cost $10 million. And then, why move all these people and the departments into a building that even needs $10 million in rehab? And it kind of blows my mind because $10 million seems to be a number that's thrown around, because I think it was a couple weeks ago in the Post that Mr. Stenger was quoted as stating that it would save $10 million, this move over 20 years. But then we're going to have another office, a satellite office. Was that math included in this figure? I don't think so. What is the county currently paying per square foot for 9666 Olive, which is the current location of the Department of Human Services? It's a rhetorical question, so I'll give you the answer. It's just to make my point. Less than $10 per square foot. And you wouldn't believe what kind of trouble I had to go to get that number, because it's not like it's transparent and out there for me to find. Moving right along, a 20-year lease is unprecedented. When have we ever had a 20-year lease in the county? And this is a lease that's worth up to $50 million, and it's not going out for bid. I don't understand that. That's very bad. The lease that you're probably going to give to your good business buddies as a return on, what did you call it in your letter for the JB Blast? Oh yeah, investment. So their return on investment, this lease has a 3.5% increase every year. What's the math on that? That's a lot of increase. I got Lindbergh school teachers are wanting a 3% increase because they haven't had any increase in a number of years. And this is 3.5% every year. Furthermore, there's no backout clause. Even I negotiated a backout clause for our lease because none of us knows the future. Well, none of us non-government funded small business people anyway, and this is insane. It's shameful, and it definitely shows a total lack of regard for taxpayers and a failure in leadership, unless, of course, your idea of leadership is leading your donor buddies as they surf their way down the gravy train to the government trough. And again, no request for proposal, no bid process.
3 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Wow. Number 4 on my
you,
lit was
Jennifer.
no cronyism. This smacks of cronyism.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Barbara Hughes.
I'm Barbara Ann Hughes. I live at 101 Hawthorne Estates, Town and Country 63131. I'm here in memory of Gracie Blue Hughes. She had her upscale tag sale this year, and the little girls next door sold lemonade. They asked if they could do that and sold pictures, hand-drawn pictures. And so anyway, I have a check for you for, I wasn't gonna cry, $134.50. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
You,
Myself, I didn't cry, but they mean a lot to us. I'm sorry.
thank you.
Next speaker is
doing
Tom
that.
Sullivan.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that.
Put it to good use of animal control.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I again urge this council to reject the leases for office space at the old Northwest Plaza site. Everything about this proposal reeks. First, there is a huge amount of campaign contributions made to Steve Stinger, at least $130,000 by the developers. Attempts were made to cover up just who the contributions were from. They were made after Mr. Stinger won the primary election in 2014, and nearly $100,000 was given after he won the general election and no longer campaigning. Since the county executive's campaign committee is more than $400,000 in debt and is almost all owed to him, the $130,000 of contributions could end up in Mr. Stinger's pocket when he is paid back, which is supposed to be within 2 years, which is now. Second, it's quite possible the Northwest leases could cost taxpayers millions of dollars more than what another landlord might provide. When you're going to spend $40 to $50 million, you should be able to get some very favorable lease proposals. Third, there has been no request for proposals as county ordinances require. If the Northwest proposal was as good as Mr. Stanger and some members of this council claim, why the need to cover it up and rush it through? You have a fiduciary responsibility to get the best deal for the county, and you are neglecting that responsibility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tom.
Can I, Mr. Chair? Mr. Sullivan said that there was no request for proposals. Peter, didn't you tell us this week that there was no, that in real estate we don't do that?
That's correct. The ordinance that deals with request for proposals concerns contracts for services. Contracts for services do not include leases. So there is no ordinance mandate, no charter mandate that these types of leases be put out for bid or put out for request for proposals.
And that's the way it's been done for years, right?
Years,
So,
yes.
And that's by our charter, or is it?
The charter provides that the council oversee leases for property, and that's the process that's going through now. The market survey was done by the Public Works, which is also given that authority under the charter. Then the lease agreement is reviewed by the council and subject to their approval prior to execution. And that's what the process has been in the last 3 weeks.
And
Mr.
Peter, can I
Chair.
ask for just clarification one thing? I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Can you give us the history going back as far as you looked as to whether there has ever been an RFP or a bid for a lease in the history of St. Louis County?
Well, we looked back recently the last 5 years for all RFPs, none of which was associated with a lease for the rental of property. And we have looked at the leases that were given for property for county use, and none was exposed to a bid or a request for request for proposal.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can you
Councilwoman.
please speak to the competitive process that did occur relative to this
You directing it to me?
lease? Yes.
Yes, there were several different buildings and marketplace reviews that were done by the Public Works people in a market survey. And they considered the competing level of property that was available, square footage that was available, location of availability, and also obviously square footage.
And that included rental rates and build-outs and things of that sort, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thanks.
Could you speak to why, in your research over the past 5 years, there hasn't been an RFP for a lease? Why would that not happen?
Well, mostly because leases involving real estate concern unique properties, unique concerns. It's not a commodity. And so consequently, you engage in the process without divulging to the public and the competitors what your activities may be. And that's a process that is engaged in the commercial real estate market, and also a process that has been recognized by the state legislature, which allows for leases of real estate and contracts for sale of real estate to be closed records until that time that the leases and contracts are executed. And in fact, it says so right in the statute that such information could adversely affect the transaction.
So an RFP would cost us more money.
Right, and quite frankly, I'm not sure how you could RFP a lease for real property. It'd be very difficult to formulate.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Councilman?
How many 20-year leases do we have in St. Louis County?
I don't know how many 20-year leases we have, Mr. Councilman. I
Have you
don't
signed-
know. I haven't looked at that.
Have you signed any 20-year leases or your department in the last couple of years?
He's been here for 18 months.
18 months?
Not that I can recall, but I'm not certain that that's the balance of information.
Does that seem like a long time?
No, not under the circumstances that present themselves. Every circumstance is unique. You have to be available and flexible to recognize that.
Why didn't we sign a 20-year lease on the election board where it is right now?
Well, I think that there was a period of time that it exceeded 20 years for the present lease interest.
But they were 5-year, 1-year leases during that period of time, correct?
And not that I can I can address, not having been involved in that particular negotiation process.
And usually those 1-year leases are pretty expensive, aren't they?
They can be. It just depends on the circumstances that prevail at the time.
Okay.
Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Tim O'Brien.
Tim O'Brien, 100 South Central. As you know, I'm a corrections officer from across the street, and we are trying to get a raise. Tonight, a few of us are here to talk about some hazards of our job. I'm going to tell my story of what happened to me. On July 18th, I was doing a cell search with 5 other officers. One regular officer, 4 lieutenants, and a captain. The gentleman we were searching had been previously found with shanks on himself, made knives out of plastic lids from our lunch trays. So we have to cell search him and strip search him. They took him out of one cell, put him in another cell. When he came out, the gentleman assaulted me. Punched me in the face twice. I lost 4 teeth and received 16 stitches and numerous medical bills that were covered, but still, it's a hazard of the job that we face every day, that we never know who's going to do what to us, when they're going to do it, or why they're going to do it. The only time I ever spoke to that gentleman was that morning, and the only thing I said was good morning to him. That's all I can say about it. He just, out of nowhere, decided that I was his target, and he wanted to lay me out, and he did. So today, several other officers behind me are going to speak about their experiences that they've had with hazardous working conditions, what it does to them, how it affects them, and what we do from there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Dora Owens.
First, giving honor to God and to our council members, to our chair, our mayor, and to the county executive, Mr. Stinger. I'm here once again because I had delivered a 3-page document to Ms. Genevieve's office last week in response to my request to Councilman Page. The first page notated that I had joint custody of my children. It's 3 pages for my divorce decree. The second page notated there was exhibit 1 that the House with all the details was granted to me. And the last page was just the signing page of the ordered judge and our circuit clerk. I gave it to Ms. Genevieve's office, and she said that according to her understanding, this was not the right forum. Councilman Page was not the person to do anything with judicial decisions. However, the decision's been made. The administration part of it, I thought, existed within this realm because it has to do with land, property, me having the right to live there, and the clearance. All of that has to be legally outlined within the power of attorney. If I'm wrong, forgive me. I did fax the document to Councilman Page, again, asking his help to just ask the attorney or even the real estate attorney office of your department to fulfill that obligation so that I can continue restoring my life. And that's all I really ask. And on behalf of our officers, we have been watching you, and we do let the House representatives know how well of a job you do. So just keep praying. God be with you.
Thank you.
Can I address that for just a second? I do have the papers that you dropped off, and we don't have the jurisdiction to solve this legal issue for you, but we can help you get answers to your questions. And according to our real estate files, the house was in you and your husband's name. The court ordered that to be in your name, and in 2007, the real estate records listed the house in your name, but not your husband's name, so there was some sort of transfer of the property. And then after 2007, the house is in someone else's name. So if I understood your question, you would ask why the house wasn't placed in your name. It appears that at one point in time it was in your name, and it was, the next year it was no longer in your name.
The deed was, but if you read the document, the power of attorney was not granted. The deed was a quitclaim deed, which Mr. Owens did sign over. That just means he took his name off the deed. It does not transfer any ownership to me. The mortgage, the reason why I had to leave, because Select Portfolio was the mortgage holder, and Melvin Owens was $60,000 in arrears. I hate to make Judge Hardenbacher sound like this, but I have to tell the truth. $60,000 in arrears was on the house under Mr. Owens's Chapter 13 at the time of divorce. And I had to assume that. And when I went to make that agreement, I could not do anything. My name was not on the mortgage. It was only on the title. Therefore, the power of attorney has to be given to me to execute any rights to that property. That's the problem. The quitclaim deed doesn't transfer any ownership to me. I couldn't even take his name off the airman bill. I had no rights to that. Does that happen?
I'm not sure I can help you with your power of attorney, but I would be glad to continue the conversation.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Dora. Next speaker, please.
Danielle Smooth, please.
Good afternoon. I am Danielle Smooth, 100 South Central. I am currently in my 1 year with the Department of Justice Services. Our initial training dealt with a lot of policies, the in and outs of the jail, and dealing with some of the inherent dangers that come along with corrections. When speaking about dangers, we dealt mainly with protecting ourselves from injuries. That ideal in being always mindful of your surroundings and the type of clientele you are around, embedded in your mind for the first couple of weeks. While protecting our physical selves was stressed, very little was talked about the emotional strain that is put on you. I am not talking about the harassment, cursing, threats, nor the sexual comments. Those also affect you emotionally. What I would like to focus on is the traumatic events. Traumatic event, June 2nd, 2016, 10:28 a.m. Such as witnessing violence against other officers or inmates, suicide attempts, self-inflicted harm, and other actions not typically seen in your day-to-day. You're giving this list of safeguards that are put in place to protect the inmates from themselves and from others. And we are told that if you do all of these things correctly, you have done your job, and it will help prevent traumatic events from happening. But no one ever talks about how you deal with traumatic events when you have done everything right. As we all know, emotional state has a close correlation with your physical well-being. The stress you're put through during the events and after stays with you. You feel for the individual and the family as well as your own personal feeling about the matter. And when there is no mistake made and you have been cleared from any wrongdoing, you still live with the stress. You live with that feeling of uncertainty and fear that even when you have done everything you were taught, there are just some things you cannot prevent. I ask myself daily, what could I have done differently? Was there anything I could have done more? That question is with me every day. We have seen the state push to include hazard pay in the correctional officers' salaries because of physical risk. We should not forget the emotional strain we are placed under on a day-to-day basis and follow suit with compensating our officers that deal with risk and persevere in spite of.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Clayton Steeris. Sir, was that the correct pronunciation?
What's that?
Is it S-T-E-A-R-U-S?
RNS.
R-N-S? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My fellow coworkers have spoken on numerous occasions of the dangers we corrections officers face at the Justice Center on a daily basis, but I know from firsthand experience that those dangers are very real. On March 10th, 2015 at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was attacked and brutally assaulted by an inmate on the 7th floor while doing something I did every day, serving breakfast. I suffered multiple injuries, including a fractured nose that required me to undergo plastic surgery, a lacerated cornea that left me legally blind for over a week, a deeply bruised cheekbone, a severe laceration below the left eye, and a concussion, trauma to the neck, which is still an ongoing issue, and mental and emotional trauma and stress to both myself and my wife. Once my wounds had healed, like many officers before, I returned to work and continued to conduct myself in the same unbiased manner as I had before, surrounded by the same dangerous inmates. I continued to conduct myself as a professional and did not let my ordeal dictate how I handled my everyday task and job. All of us officers that enter through the secure perimeter on a daily basis knowing that there is an extreme risk associated with the job, but put our lives on the line every day. The state of Missouri compensated their corrections officers for taking these inherent risks. The Justice Services loses 3 to 4 officers a month due to the risk overweighing the salary. This is why I urge you to allocate the funds to give us officers a pay wage increase, because if not, eventually the jail is going to run out of officers. And neither you and I want that to happen. I'd like to show you firsthand what it would look like when you're assaulted in jail. Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton. Next speaker, please.
Katie Doherty.
Katie?
Katie Doherty, 100 South Central. A woman who killed her child and hid him in a pile of leaves. A man who held a woman captive and raped her for hours on end. And a shooter who critically injured a Baldwin police officer. Those people do not disappear when they're arrested, they come to us. We deal with them for sometimes years after those arrests and charges, after indictment, for years. And you've heard what happens when you deal with people like this. And you won't hear that on the news, you won't see that from anyone but us. And we're fine with that, we understand. It's easy to miss us. We're squirreled away in a building that most people don't know is a jail, 24/7. It is easy to forget us. We're out of sight, we're out of mind. We get it. We're not asking for a parade. We're asking to be paid at a compensated wage that is equitable to those around us. Our colleagues and peers in the local area make up to 20% more than us, and they house a third, maybe 50% of the inmates that we do. And these inmates, we are entrusted with their care. We are supposed to protect them from themselves and each other, and we're supposed to uphold their human rights and their civil rights, and we do that every day without fail, every single day. And we are told, well, we just can't make it work, guys. So how can you look at me, and how can you look at all of them and tell us that we're not worth it? How can we spend money for a courts building that's $40 million over budget? How can we find $2.1 million for tablets? How can we spend millions upon millions for soccer fields? And you can't find money for these officers. You can't find money for me. You can't figure it out. Because I'm worth it. Every single person out there is worth it. And just because you don't see us on the news and you don't see us going to and from our car doesn't mean that you can forget about us. I am worth it. So I'm asking you guys to please figure it out, because it can be figured out. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Question of bills?
Bill number 151, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant from the curators of the University of Missouri St. Louis of up to $253,398, appropriating funds received for reimbursement of expenses incurred from participation in the Safety and Justice Challenge Initiative, and authorizing execution of related documents. Bill number 152, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $144,000 from the Missouri Office of Homeland Security for support of the St. Louis Fusion Center Terrorism Early Warning Group. Bill number 153, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger, an ordinance declaring the public necessity of and providing for the establishment of a public road designated as Vance Road, lying entirely within the city of Valley Park, directing the acquisition of real property therefore, and authorizing the county executive to execute contracts, agreements, and related documents, AR-1648. Bill number 154, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance appropriating $3 million from the unappropriated balance of the Public Mass Transit Fund for funding a Metrolink expansion analysis, directing the accounting officer to pay over such amount to the East-West Gateway Council of Governments for conducting the analysis, and authorizing the county executive to execute related documents. Bill number 155, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara for Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance amending Title 12 St. Louis County Revised Ordinances 1974 as amended traffic code by deleting 4 provisions from Schedule 4 and by enacting and adding 4 provisions to Schedule 4. Excuse me. Bill number 156, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary, an ordinance amending ordinance number 26,201 by repealing and reenacting Section 3 pertaining to PC 08-15, SEMSAD, and Safika Sekinovich. Bill number 157, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary, an ordinance authorizing and giving preliminary approval to a planned environment unit development of a tract of land located in the R4 Residence District, subject to conditions PC 13-16, Coonley Construction Company Incorporated. Bill number 158, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara for Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance amending the St. Louis County zoning ordinance and the official zoning district maps by changing the boundaries of the CA Plan Commercial District and the C6 Office and Research Service District as provided herein. PC 15-16, Lindbergh School District. Bill number 159, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance approving the application and preliminary plans for the amended development in the CA Plan Commercial District of a tract of land subject to conditions and repealing ordinance number 19,442, PC 16-16, Page LM Properties LLC. Bill number 160, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara for Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance authorizing St. Louis County, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bonds, Varsity Tutors LLC Project Series 2016, in a principal amount not to exceed $1 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of equipping an industrial development project in the county, approving a plan for the project, authorizing the county to enter into certain leases with respect to the real property associated with the project, and authorizing the county executive and director of administration to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds. Mr. Chair, that is all the bills.
perfection of bills.
Bill number 8, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
Hold, please.
Bill number 145, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I'd like to take it up, move for perfection of bill number 145.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 145 is perfected.
Bill number 146, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
I move to perfect Bill number 146.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 146 is perfected.
Bill number 147, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move for perfection of bill number 147.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 147 is perfected.
Bill number 148, introduced by Councilmember
I'd
Dolan.
like to take it up, move for perfection of bill number 148. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 148 is perfected.
Bill number 149, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move perfect bill number 149.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 149 is perfected.
Bill number 150, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move to perfect bill number 150.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Bill number 150 is perfected. Final passage of bills.
Bill number 116, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Hold, please, and that will be the order.
Bill number 137, introduced by Councilmember
I'd
O'Meara.
like to take it up and move for final passage of bill number 137.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 137, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 137 is finally passed.
Bill number 138, introduced by Councilmembers Erby, Page, Wassinger, and Dolan.
I move for final passage of bill number 138.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Chair, on bill number 138, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 138 is finally passed.
Bill number 139, introduced by Councilmembers Wassinger, O'Leary, and Wassinger for Harder.
I move for final passage of bill number 139.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 139, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 139 is finally passed.
Bill number 140, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger for Councilmember Harder.
I move for final passage of Bill number 140.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby. Aye. Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 140, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 140 is finally passed.
Bill number 141, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
I'd like to take it up, move for final passage, bill number 141.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 141, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 141 is finally passed.
Bill number 142, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move for final passage of bill number 142.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 142, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 142 is finally passed.
Bill number 143, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
I'd like to take it up, move for final passage, bill number 143.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
Aye.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara.
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan. Councilmember O'Leary.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 143, there are 6 ayes and 1 absent.
Bill number 143 is finally passed.
Bill number 144, introduced by Councilmember Page.
I move for final passage bill number 144.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby.
I'd like to make a statement first, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
This particular legislation has been very difficult for me over the past couple of weeks. I've thought about it and made decisions, and then I changed my mind, and I keep going back and forth on this, and I've done research. I've talked to real estate agents. I've talked to people who work for the Board of Elections. I've talked to friends, neighbors, everybody. There's obviously a lot of concerns surrounding this project. And there are issues that are serious and that I think this council needs to address as soon as possible. And I do see a problem with transparency, but from what I understand and what Mr. Crane said to us, this is how this process has been done for years. I did a tour of the project and actually fell in love with it. I really like it. I was told that it started when County Executive Dooley was here for some few years prior to this. Again, there are serious problems that we need to address. However, I don't feel that I should penalize the boost that this will bring to the economy in St. Anne, North County, penalize the staff who I know reside in an area of workforce development that I've never thought was a good site for us to say that we have county employees in a place like that. So in my mind, this is a good deal, not with all of the other stuff surrounding it, but the fact that it's a good deal. I think it's a good deal. I approve of it, and I'm going to vote yes.
Councilmember Page?
This is a great location for the election board. It's a great value, it's great access, it's better space, and it's just the economic boost that St. Anne and the surrounding area need, and I vote yes.
Councilmember Wassinger?
There has been a lot of debate, as Councilmember Irby said, and all of us up here have been well aware of, in contemplating whether or not this lease is in the best interest of the county and the taxpayers. Obviously, there are many factors that go into that decision. Not only were other sites considered, the rent, the appropriate build-out, whether we own or lease the space. The location is very important, access to public transportation, and maintaining a satellite office for people that want to continue to enjoy the more mid-county location of the Sun and Drive, which I've been assured that will in fact occur. The build-out that is being offered by this landlord is unprecedented in some ways. I mean, the things that they are going to be doing to improve the space for our employees. The workforce development space now is not in good shape, is in dire need of an upgrade, and I think our employees will enjoy the new space. I think there is a significant savings that will be realized to the St. Louis County taxpayers, and because of that, I am voting yes.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan? Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
I've looked at this as a real estate broker. I've looked at this a number of different ways. There's some portions of this that are fairly good. There's other parts that are questionable. The savings that is implied here, I'm not too comfortable with. There may be some, but I don't think there's $10 million worth. And the circumstances recently surrounding this have kept me a little uneasy about this whole thing. And I need to sleep at night, and so I'm going to have to vote no on this. And I would prefer if those that have received money from this developer, that I think it would be a good move and transparent move if those people would give that money back, and that way would restore some confidence in these type of big decisions that the county council makes. So again, I vote no on this project.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 144, there are 5 ayes, 1 no, and 1 absent.
Bill number 144 is finally passed. Resolutions.
We have no resolutions this evening, Mr. Chair. We also have no items under unfinished business, and under new business, we have 1 prepared order.
I move for adoption of order number 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Order number 1 is adopted.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are adjourned.